All right, so I imagine when you elope or you get married secretly, it feels so good at the time, intoxicating. You don't have to deal with all the hassles of family and logistics. But then at some point, you got to tell your family you got married. And this is where this email comes in that we got from a Bert Show listener who's now got to tell her dad, yeah, I secretly got married.
Hi, Bert Show fam. I hope this message finds you all well because I'm in desperate need of your help. I've been a long-time listener of the Bert Show and have always admired your advice. I'm reaching out because I find myself in a bit of a dilemma and can really use the Bert Show's help. To give you some context, my husband and I got married 6 months ago after just 6 months of dating. Sounds crazy, I know. It was a decision we made together after realizing we were a couple of goofy kids meant to be. The corniness of that sentence even makes me cringe, but it's true. We kept it a secret initially for various reasons, mainly to savor the moment between just the two of us and to avoid any potential negativity from family, especially my dad. You see, my dad has always been adamantly against marriage, and his past experiences have colored his views. He married my mom pretty young, and needless to say, it didn't go too well. He's visiting from St. Louis this weekend for my birthday, and I've decided it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and tell him about our marriage. But I'm absolutely terrified of his reaction. I know he'll most likely have mixed feelings from feeling left out, for not being informed earlier, to potentially being upset about not being asked before my now husband proposed. I desperately want to break the news gently and without causing him to go into cardiac arrest or pass away on the spot. I don't want him to feel bad for being the last to know. And ideally, I'd prefer if he didn't realize that fact. I know I'm most likely the a-hole in this situation, but you guys are great at navigating sensitive situations, and I'm hoping you can offer some sort of guidance or at least some humor on the best way to approach this conversation with my dad. Any advice you could give would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Your show has been a lifeline during my daily commute, and I'm truly grateful for all that you do. P.S. I forgot to mention that we got married in St. Louis while house sitting at my dad's house. What a lovely...
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I mean, if you're going to go in and anger the dude, go all the way in.
What a lovely destination wedding, am I right?
All right, so first of all, let me pull my soapbox over here for one part of this. I think as parents, and I'm seeing this way too often, and I feel like it's infuriating, that your life and your happiness is not your kids' life and their happiness. Like your vision of what's going to make them happy may not be their vision of what's going to make them happy. Leave them alone. Let them define happiness by themselves. So dad here's all against marriage because it didn't work out for him. You should never get married. But that's not what his daughter wants. All right? So right out of the gate, we should throw that right out the window. That said, he's going to be mad.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to have a good reaction. And I think something you need to think about going into this situation is that his reaction has everything to do with him and really nothing to do with the decision that you made. What he's seeing your decision as like a reflection of his past experiences. So it's going to feel really personal if he comes at you and he starts throwing some insults about you and marriage and trying to just put a gray cloud over what should be a really happy time. So I just think you go into that remembering that it's going to be a little uncomfortable for a little bit, but it doesn't really have anything to do with you and your current happiness.
Yeah, listen, I feel like the older you get, the more you realize it's very true what they say. You just can't make everybody happy. You just simply can't. And I think this is one of those situations where you have to realize there's nothing you can do that's going to make your dad happy in this situation.
Right.
You have to pursue your own happiness, and you're only responsible for how you present that information to him, not exactly how he takes it. So if I'm in her shoes, I'm just ripping that Band-Aid off. I'm telling him this is what makes me happy, Dad, and I hope you love me and support me through it.
Do you have a different take on this?
No, I mean, you did it. It was your choice. It's your life. And, you know, even though your dad is adamantly against marriage, like you have already said, Bert, like, you know, that's how he feels about his life. He shouldn't inflict that on your life. I feel like at this point, the longer you wait, the more anxiety. It's one of those things that you know you need to do it and you sit on it and it's eating you from the inside out. It's like you can actually feel it corroding your insides.
Yep.
And you have to rip that Band-Aid. You do it I'm trying to decide, now that you guys are a team, I feel like you're going to have to do this together. I feel like she and her now husband need to tell him, because I'm trying to gauge, like, do you want to tell him on your own, Or do you want this to be like a joint effort?
I wouldn't want to be in a room when the dad look at me with that anger.
I feel like you got to man up. You know what I mean? Like, you married his daughter, you got to man up. And I feel like there'll be more respect there if you do it together. So I think sitting on it, you guys go in and you tell him together, and then his reaction is his reaction, and then it's done.
Virtual listener Mike wants in on this. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just missed the last part of what you guys were saying, so I think you're kind of coming a little bit in agreement with me here. I think the one thing we failed to forget about this whole thing is from the way she was speaking, it sounds like she respects her dad. It sounds like she loves her dad, regardless of how it went with mom and dad. And you're right, it's about them. They got married. They're happy. But the one thing is at this point, they are making it about him because they purposely waited to tell him last. They're bringing him out there to spring this surprise on him. They're going to do their best, I'm sure, to make it as easy as possible. And you're right. In the end, it's about their happiness. But maybe she should give her dad a little bit more credit and understand that, yes, he's probably going to react badly, but obviously, we're assuming here, you know how that works out. Obviously, he loves her. Mm-hmm. He's done her best by him. You know, his personality, the way he thinks of marriage is his and not hers. But she should be ready to be like, all right, Dad, I know you're upset, but we love each other and I love you. And understand that by doing this to him last and the way you're doing it, you are making it somewhat about him.
Mm-hmm. That's a good call. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
The Bert Show.